Good morning, students. Today we are going to see pleiotropism. Or pleiotropy. Here, one gene is able to produce more characters, or several characters are going to be developed by one gene. Such genes are said to be pleiotropic genes. That phenomena generally we call it as a pleiotropism. Okay. Here, genes are only one, but it produces several characters. In Greek language, pleion means more or several. So, more or several characters are going to be developed by a single gene. Such gene is said to be pleiotropic gene. That phenomena is known as a pleiotropism or pleiotropy. This pleiotropy word was coined by Ludwig Plate in the year 1910. Okay, these pleiotropic genes are totally differ from the law that was given by Mendel. Especially, Mendel gave four laws. One is law of dominance, law of segregation, and law of independent assortment. In addition to these three, he said that paired factors are unit factors. Unit factors, that is a principle of paired factor or principle of unit factor that was given by Gregor Johann Mendel. According to his opinion, here is one character is going to be developed by or controlled by or produced by one pair of gene. Here, such one gene always should be with a paired in condition. It has two alleles. Okay. These two alleles are necessary for the production of only one character. That statement was given by Gregor Johann Mendel. But here what we are seeing, one gene is here, it can capable to produce several characters. Hence it is totally differ from the law that was given by the Mendel in the name of principle of paired factors or unit factors. You please remember about it. And what are the examples for pleiotropism? Examples. Number one is phenylketonuria, and other one is sickle cell anemia. Cystic fibrosis, Marfan syndrome, mini muscle allele, in Drosophila, white-eyed mutation also one of the example for pleiotropism. Now, in sweet pea, a gene is there that is responsible for the production of colored flower. So, not only that responsible for the production of color in that flower, the same gene is also capable to produce color in seeds and also red spots on the leaves, etc. So, the gene that is not only responsible to produce colored flowers in them, and also the same gene is responsible for the production of colored seeds, and one of the other character is going to be developed by the same gene. Here is the red spots are going to be developed on the leaves. Hence, here we are seeing that so many characters are going to be developed. Phenotypic expressions are given by single gene. So, hence all will come as examples for pleiotropism. This is enough to learn up to this level for IPE only. But the students who are interested to write some entrance examinations like MSET, NEET and all other medical entrance examinations, for them I would like to give more information. Okay, we will see now what is phenylketonuria, what is sickle cell anemia, cystic fibrosis, etc., etc. 1 to all we will see. Okay, you please go through all of them. But for IPE students, it is enough. Okay, for even degree students also it is enough. Now, phenylketonuria. Phenylketonuria is a autosomal homozygous recessive metabolic disorder. Autosomal homozygous recessive metabolic disorder. The defective gene which are located on somatic chromosomes, one of the somatic chromosome, the chromosomal number here is 12th chromosome. 12th chromosome has a defected gene, okay, by which only the phenylketonuria, that disease is going to be developed in their body. Especially, there is an amino acid is called as a phenylalanine. What is that? Phenylalanine. When we see the metabolism of this one, it converted into tyrosine in the presence of a specific enzyme, phenylalanine hydroxylase. A specific phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme, if it is there, that immediately will convert the phenylalanine into tyrosine. The production of this one is under control by, for example, capital P, or a capital P, small p, a homozygous dominant condition or a heterozygous dominant condition, genotype will produce that phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. Automatically phenylalanine converted into tyrosine. If mutations are made in these genes. That is, capital P is converted to small p. This small p, if it is in recessive homozygous in condition, that is not able to produce phenylalanine hydroxylase enzyme. That enzyme may not be developed. Hence, phenylalanine may not be converted to tyrosine. What will happen? The same phenylalanine will be accumulated in the blood of such persons. Even in their body fluid also, the amounts of this one will be more. That condition is called as a phenylketonuria. So this is the disorder, metabolic disorder. This is the metabolic disorder developed due to the accumulation of phenylalanine. That was due to the absence of phenylalanine hydroxylase. That was due to the conversion of a dominant gene capital P into recessive gene into small p. Okay, that recessive small p genes are not able to produce that particular kind of enzyme. Automatically, phenylalanine may not be converted into tyrosine, and it can be accumulated in the blood. And most amount of phenylalanine also may be excreted out through the sweat and also urine. Phenylalanine, the phenylketonuria primary character here is to develop phenylketonuria only. Means the accumulation of that phenylalanine into the body fluids or even plasma of blood only. That will be the primary character. Now, what are the secondary characters which are going to be developed by this phenylketonuria? Why we are taking it as an example for pleiotropism? Means the so many other secondary characters are also going to be developed by this phenylalanine. So let us see, this phenylalanine is large neutral amino acid. A large neutral amino acid that can compete to enter into the brain through blood-brain barrier along with the help of transporters. Okay, the transporters are there which are present in the blood-brain barrier to receive this large neutral amino acids. Not only this phenylalanine, the other amino acids which are having a nature of neutral. Such things are also going to be transported by transporters from the blood to brain. Whenever the quantities of this phenylalanine is going to be increased in the blood, all the transporters are interested to take this into the brain. So they are going to be saturated by transporting all these. So the concentration of phenylalanine will be more inside the brain, and the other large neutral amino acids may not be more in the brain. Such may be needed for the brain to produce or to synthesize the necessary protein molecules and also some neurotransmitters. I mean, what happened now? The neurotransmitters and some proteins which are not going to be developed within the brain, because the other than this phenylalanine, a large neutral amino acids are not there in the brain. Hence, the amount of this one will be increases in the brain that may lead to abnormal damage to the brain cells. Okay, improper brain development will be there, abnormal brain development will be there, brain also may not be developed properly. Why? Because due to the non-forming of required proteins and also some neurotransmitters, due to lack of some other large neutral amino acids. Okay, that was due to the compete by this phenylalanine amino acid. Hence, mental retardation will develop in their body. Mental retardation will develop. Hair falls also may occur. Hypopigmentation also may be seen in their body. I mean, especially in their skin, in their hair. hypopigmentation. Melanin pigmentation also may not be developed more and more, hence hypopigmentation will be there. Sometimes red spots are going to be developed in their skin. Accumulation of this one may lead to damage in such tissues like spleen, kidney, brain. Hence, all these are said to be secondary developed characters due to the accumulation of phenylalanine, because that was not converted to tyrosine. All story is totally depending on absence of a particular gene. So that gene, absence of that particular gene here is causing several characters, developing of several characters. Hence, it was taken as an example for pleiotropism. Students, we have to remember about it. Okay. Now, this phenylketonuria is observed by falling in the year 1934. A.I. Falling in the year 1934, he observed it phenylketonuria in the metabolism of phenylalanine. Okay. What are the secondary characters are going to be developed in this phenylketonuria? One is a mental retardedness, other one is falling of hair, other one is hypopigmentation in the hair and as well as in the skin, and red spots are also going to be developed in the skin, and some organs are also going to be damaged, especially brain is going to be damaged, spleen is going to be damaged, and other kidney also going to be damaged due to the heavily accumulation of this one. Okay, so all these secondary characters are going to be developed by one gene. Hence, one gene can capable to produce several characters. Hence, it is taken as an example for pleiotropism. Now, in furtherly, tyrosine is going to be developed into para hydroxyphenyl acetic acid. Later, it converted to melyl. Before that, homogentisic acid. Okay, homogentisic acid is converted to melyl acetate. Here, one more enzyme is needed. Homogentisic acid oxidase. A particular kind of enzyme is needed here. If that enzyme is there, homogentisic acid immediately converted to melyl acetate. That enzyme, if it is absent, homogentisic acid levels are going to be accumulated in the body fluids. Okay, that may lead to a condition of alkaptonuria. That is simply we call it as a AKU. Okay, because all captons are present. All captons are nothing but homogentisic acid. Okay, its volume is going to be increased in their body fluids, even in the plasma of blood, etc. And most of the homogentisic acid is going to be excreted through their fecal matter also. When their fecal matter exposed to the air, reacted with the air, immediately fecal matter turns to black color. That will be one of the important unique character for alkaptonuria. Okay, so their fecal matter is immediately converted to black in color. Why? Because homogentisic acid is reacted with atmospheric air and converted into black in color. Now, in another direction, the same thing here is the same thing. Tyrosine in another direction, tyrosine is converted to melanin. In the presence of tyrosinase. A special kind of enzyme is needed for the conversion of tyrosine to melanin. Once melanin is developed, it gives dark color to the skin. So dark color to the skin will develop due to the presence of melanin. If tyrosinase is not there, if tyrosinase enzyme is not there, there is no conversion of tyrosine to melanin, there is no developing of melanin a pigment, hence such people's skin will appear white in color, especially pale white in color. That condition is called as a albinism. Albinism. So albinism is a disease that was developed by absence of melanin, that was due to the absence of tyrosinase and enzyme. There is no conversion here tyrosine to melanin. Okay. So these are the three kinds of disorders are going to be developed in the phenylalanine amino acid metabolism. Okay. Then in further steps, mallyl acetoacetate. Here I am writing mallyl acetoacetate immediately converted to fumarate and acetoacetate or acetic acid. That acetoacetate is converted to carbon dioxide and water. So this is the complete metabolism of phenylalanine. Whenever a particular kind of gene is absent, its respective enzymes are also going to be absent, and finally that respective reactions are not going to be occur. So what are the things we have to observe? One is PKU, phenylketonuria, that was developed by absence of phenylalanine hydroxylase, an enzyme. Other one is AKU, alkaptonuria, that was due to the absence of homogentisic acid oxidase, that enzyme. And third one is ALB, albinism. Here, which enzyme is absent here? Tyrosinase. Tyrosinase, an enzyme is absent. So we have to remember all these three things. Especially here in phenylketonuria, the affected babies born normally, but within a few weeks of time, 30 to 50% of phenylalanine amino acid concentration will be more. So nearly 30 to 50 times higher phenylalanine amino acid levels are appeared in their body fluids, even in plasma of their blood also. If we not treated them, 1/3 people are not able to walk. 2/3 people are not able to talk also properly. Okay, these are the things generally found in phenylketonuria. Okay, now the other example for pleiotropism here is sickle cell anemia. The other example for pleiotropism here is sickle cell anemia. Here also an abnormal gene which is located on 11th chromosome. We have to remember this is also autosomal homozygous recessive blood disorder. Blood disorder. Autosomal homozygous recessive blood disorder. It was identified by Herrick in the year 1904. We have to remember about it. Herrick in the year 1904. And one more scientist, Vernon Ingram, a scientist who belonged to the Cambridge University. He told that there is only one amino acid is difference is in between normal hemoglobin and sickle cell hemoglobin. Later we will see about his statement. What was the difference is there in between normal hemoglobin and the sickle cell hemoglobin. In sickle cell anemia, at high altitudes under or low oxygen tension, that is nothing but hypoxia a conditions. Hypoxia a conditions under physical excessive physical exercise, RBCs are going to be rigid and their shape also is going to be converted from round to sickle. These sickled RBCs are interested to adhere together, clump together, finally clump together, and sometimes clog also may be made in some of small blood vessels. Okay, what will be happen? The structure of RBC will be like this for normal RBC, but the structure of sickle celled RBC like this. Okay, these sickle celled RBCs, when they are going to be travel in a narrowed lumens of blood capillaries, they may break the endothelial layer of the blood capillaries. They may cause damage to the blood capillaries. And also, one RBC may be clumped with the other RBC because the nature is sickle in nature. Hence, RBCs are also going to be damaged. Blood loss may occur. And finally, anemic a condition will develop. That anemic condition that was developed by due to the presence of sickle shaped RBCs, hence it is said to be sickle cell anemia. We named it as a sickle cell anemia because of due to the presence of sickle celled RBC and they causes anemic condition. Okay. How they are going to be developed? We will see now. Before to observe such things, we should learn the formation of hemoglobin. We should know the formation of hemoglobin. Especially 2-succinyl coenzyme A combines with 2 glycine molecules to develop pyrrole. 4 pyrrole molecules are known as a proto-porphyrin. Especially, it may be known as a 9th one. Proto-porphyrin, 9th one, is converted into heme in the presence of iron. It is reacted with iron to converted into heme. 4 heme molecules are combined with a globin to develop hemoglobin. Now here the globin molecule consists of 4 polypeptide chains. Of all these 4 polypeptide chains, 2 will be equal, called as a 2 alpha chains. The remaining 2 also will be equal with each other. We simply call them as a 2 beta chains. Each alpha chain is made up of 141 amino acid. Each beta polypeptide chain is made up of 146 amino acids. So totally 574 amino acids are there in the structure of the hemoglobin. Okay. Now a normal gene for producing a normal hemoglobin, that is HbN, and that always will be GAG. Here we have to see this is DNA, GAG, then CTC. G is now guanine is linked with the cytosine, adenine is linked with the thymine, again guanine is linked with the cytosine. This is the DNA, that is the gene. Okay. On transcription, GAG will develop from it. That GAG is meant for to produce glutamic acid. Okay. Now here abnormal gene. Here abnormal gene for producing abnormal hemoglobin. That is abnormal hemoglobin should be written like this, HbS. Here the DNA is for this, especially for this GTG. Then finally CTC, it is a triplet codon. The middle letter of this is going to be replaced by adenine. So it becomes CAC. Thymine is going to be replaced by adenine. So here the middle letter of this triplet codon, thymine is replaced by adenine. Hence, when it undergone to transcription, it produces GUG. Okay. This is mRNA. So here this is also mRNA. This GUG, which is located on the mRNA of this one, is produced as valine. Okay. This is made in beta chain of abnormal hemoglobin. That is yes. These changes are also made in beta chain. Okay. These changes are also made in beta chain. These changes are also made in beta chain of hemoglobin. Finally, CTC, it is a triplet codon in which the middle letter, that is the thymine, is going to be replaced by adenine. Hence CTC is converted to CAC. Now the CAC codes for GUG, especially on mRNA, that GUG code for amino acid valine. So valine is going to be developed in this. Here simply the thiamine is replaced by adenine. It is said to be a point mutation. Point mutation or transversion. Transversion means a kind of frame shift mutation. So it results developing of CAC, and the transcription process of this CAC produces GUG. So GUG will develop on the mRNA that code for a particular kind of amino acid, that is valine. Okay. Now what are the sequential arrangement of amino acids which are present in both normal and abnormal hemoglobin from 1 to 46? Here no need to read all the arrangement of amino acids from 1 to 146. Simply here all amino acids are same in their arrangement in between both of them, but the except sixth position is totally different. The sixth position, if it is glutamic acid is there, that is said to be normal hemoglobin. If sixth place, if it is occupied by valine, that is said to be abnormal hemoglobin, that is hemoglobin S. Okay. For this, we have to remember what are the from first to sixth amino acid sequences which are seen in both abnormal and normal hemoglobin. Now let us we can see. For better understanding purpose, simply VH-LTPG, you please remember VH-LTPG. Here V is first position, second position, third position, fourth position, fifth position, sixth position. These are the sequential arrangement of amino acids. Here V stands for valine. H stands for histidine. L stands for leucine. T stands for threonine. P stands for proline. G stands for glutamic acid. So these are the from 1 to 6 sequential amino acids are found in normal hemoglobin. So the sixth place is occupied by glutamic acid. But in the case of abnormal hemoglobin, here VH, I am writing here VH-LTPV again. The first place and the sixth place both are occupied by valine. Okay. Now we have to remember the sixth place which is occupied by valine. Okay. Here also first place, second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place, sixth place. Sixth place, which amino acid is here? Valine. So here valine, histidine, leucine, threonine, proline, and again sixth place is occupied by valine. If valine is there, that is said to be abnormal hemoglobin. Now automatically abnormal hemoglobin produces sickle cells RBC. Generally, the main important characteristic feature of this allele is to produce valine. That is the primary effect. Simply we will see what are the primary effect of the particular mutated allele for this, and primary effect is to produce valine at the sixth position of beta chain in abnormal hemoglobin, producing an abnormal hemoglobin, and as well as having a valine in the 6th place of beta chain is also important, and they are the primary effect of that particular allele. In addition to that, what are the secondary effects shown by the same allele? Here, when valine is there, that may go for polymerization. Polymerization may occur. Automatically, a round shaped RBC will become sickle shaped. So, round shaped RBC becomes sickle shaped RBC. Okay. Now, generally RBC structure will be like this. Now, here is the structure will be like this. This is the sickle cell RBC. This is a normal RBC. Okay, that was due to the presence of valine at the 6th position in its beta chain. Okay, then when these sickled shaped RBCs are moving in narrowed blood vessels, they may cause damage to the endothelial layers of the blood capillary. Sometimes one RBC may be clumped with the other RBC, and finally damage to the RBCs also may occur. Okay, these sickle shaped RBCs are always tend to clump together. They have a more tendency to go for clumping, and also clog also may develop. Clog in small blood vessels. The clogged blood vessels may reduce the flow of blood circulation. Finally, oxygen may not be supplied to all bodily parts. Hence, headache will develop, muscle cramps will develop, a headache will develop, muscle cramps will develop, spleen and also brain both will get damaged. Spleen and brain, they may get damaged due to the insufficient amount of oxygen which is present in the blood flow, because the clogged blood capillaries may reduces the flow of blood circulation. Okay, then these sickle shaped RBCs mostly will develop at high altitude and presence of low amount of oxygen, that is hypoxic conditions also may develop these kinds of situations. That is sickle cell cirrhosis. Okay, sickle cell crisis will develop in the absence of oxygen or in low amounts of oxygen in our body. Okay, so these are all said to be secondary characters which are going to be developed by sickle cell anemia. And one more here we have to remember, homozygous for sickle cell persons will die before they enter into maturity age, because severe anemic conditions are going to be developed in their body. The conditions will be like this: HBS. That is homozygous condition for sickle cell anemia. That is HBS. Such people will die before they enter into their reproductive age or before the maturation, due to the heavy loss of anemic conditions or blood loss, etc. Heterozygous condition for this sickle cell anemia, HbA, HbS, HbA or HbN both are said to be normal hemoglobin, and HbS is said to be sickle cell hemoglobin. Here, this is said to be heterozygous condition for sickle cell anemia, in which these people will survive normally. they do not get any anemic conditions. If they continue for a longer period in absence of low amounts of oxygen in their surrounding environment, in such conditions they will develop such anemic conditions in their body. And one more advantage for these people is malaria parasite may not be or cannot be penetrate through their plasma membrane of RBCs immediately or easily. Okay, hence they do not get a malaria fever mostly. That will be said to be an advantage of heterozygous condition for this sickle cell anemia. And one more, these heterozygous people for sickle cell anemia, HbA and HbS condition, they are having an abnormal, unwanted, deleterious gene in their genome. Hence, it is said to be genetic load. It is said to be genetic load. Genetic load is nothing but presence of deleterious gene in their genome. Actually, no need to have that particular kind of allele in their genome, but they are having such unwanted deleterious gene in their genome. Hence, that condition is said to be genetic load. Yes. Up to this, the sickle cell anemia, that condition is also over. We have to remember always VHLTPG, VHLTPV. This is for normal hemoglobin. This is for normal hemoglobin. This is for abnormal hemoglobin. This is for HbN or HbA. This is for HbS, sickle shaped hemoglobin. Okay, what are all these? First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth position of beta chain. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth position of amino acids of beta chain. Here, sixth place is occupied by glutamic acid. Here, sixth place is occupied by valine. Here, what will be the reason for this? Here, gap, a condition is there. Here, GUG, a condition is there. This will be the mRNAs. Hence, GAG produces glutamic acid. GUG produces valine. Okay. For this, here CTC is there. Here CAC is there. Simply, thiamine is replaced by adenine. So these are some important few things we have to remember always regarding sickle cell anemia. Here, primary character for sickle cell anemia or its respective allele is to produce valine only. That allele has to give that character only, but in addition to that character, so many other characters are also going to be influenced by the same allele. So what are the other characters? Muscle cramping are going to be developed. Then muscle weakness, physical weakness are going to be developed. Spleen is going to be damaged. Brain is also going to be damaged, etc. So many other characters, and produces abnormal hemoglobin. And RBCs are also going to be converted from round shape to sickle shaped RBCs. Hence, all are said to be the developing of secondary characters by the same allele. Hence, all these characters are influenced by the particular allele. Hence, it is a good example for pleiotropism. Okay, and how many amino acids are present in hemoglobin? 574. 574 amino acids are present in both normal hemoglobin and abnormal hemoglobin. How many amino acids are present in alpha chain of both normal and abnormal hemoglobins? Common, 141. How many amino acids are present in both hemoglobins, beta chains? There are 146 amino acids. Here we have to remember, no change in the number of amino acids in both normal and abnormal hemoglobin, but there is a change in the position, especially the sixth place of beta chain only. The sixth place of beta chain, if it is occupied by glutamic acid, that will produce normal hemoglobin, that also becomes a normal round shaped RBC. If the sixth position of beta chain is occupied by valine, that immediately produces abnormal hemoglobin, as well as it brings normal round shaped RBC to become sickle shaped RBC. So this is the story we have to remember forever. Who identified this? Means we have to say Herrick. Which chromosome is responsible for this? 11th chromosome. Which chain is responsible for the developing of abnormal hemoglobin? Beta chain. How many amino acids are present in beta chain of normal hemoglobin? 146. How many amino acids are present in abnormal hemoglobin, especially beta chain? 146. How many amino acids are present in both normal hemoglobin and abnormal hemoglobin? 574 already there. The number of amino acids always will be same in both of them. That is in normal hemoglobin and abnormal hemoglobin. The number of amino acids will be same. But the arrangement of amino acids, especially the sixth position of beta chain, will differ. Okay. The sixth place should be occupied by glutamic acid if it is normal hemoglobin. If it is occupied by valine, it should be abnormal hemoglobin, that is HbS. When HbS is there, automatically that will produce us sickle shaped RBC. Sickle shaped RBC will give sickle cell anemia. Now here, HbS homozygous condition, such people will automatically die before to enter into their reproductive stage due to the heavier anemic conditions are going to be developed in their body. And HbS and other one is HbN. This is a heterozygous condition in which what will happen? They also will survive. They also will be normal. But if the same condition is there for a longer period in the presence of low oxygen tension, automatically they also will suffer with anemic conditions. Single allele, that is HbS, is enough to produce that character whenever low levels of oxygen is available. Okay, and one more thing here is malaria. The parasite may never be enter into their RBC because of the structure of RBC will be like this. They are unable to penetrate into the plasma membrane, and finally they never enter into the RBC. Hence, this may be the advantage for such people. Okay, sickle cell anemic people, they do not get malaria fever mostly. Then one more, they are possessing abnormal deleterious allele in their genome. Hence, it is said to be genetic load. Genetic load. Such things are also going to be observed. I mean, observation or presence of the unwanted gene in their genome, that is said to be genetic load. So such things we have to remember here. Now, who said only one amino acid will be differ in between normal hemoglobin versus abnormal hemoglobin? That is Vernon Ingram in the year 1958. Who belonged to Cambridge University? That is Vernon Ingram. Okay, after this one is over. In the coming videos, we will see the next examples for pleiotropism. Okay, thank you.